Consider that somebody asks you a few questions. What is the total sales? What is the average profit per order? How many orders do we have? And which order generated the highest sales? These datasets contain thousands of records, and manually it is not possible to calculate everything. Instead of spending hours doing calculations, you can get accurate answers in just few seconds, like we have seen in the previous session also. So in today's session, we'll apply the formulas and functions that every beginner data analyst should know using this sample superstore dataset. So welcome back to the complete data analytics course. So far we have learned how to work with spreadsheets, organize data, clean, apply formatting. Now it's time to let Google Sheet do the calculation for us. So we'll apply formula, sum, average, count, max, min, the basics of this, right? That will help. So first of all, if you ask me that what is a formula, so a formula is an expression that performs some calculation, and every formula begins with an equal sign. For example, if you have the sales data, right, and you have seen this profit also, okay, so like in for the first order, if total sale was 22,638.48 and 6 quantities were sold, and if you would like to know that the sale price for each of this quantity which was being sold, yes, we can get that, okay, per quantity, right? So how we need per quantity, right? So how we need to do that? So equals to, that expression starts with so this data. So everything is referred to the cell address, right? Whatever the data or formula that we have to apply. Because if I just write here 22,638.48, then divide it for division, I use slash divided by 6. So this is right applicable to single data. We get autofill right as an option, but instead of that, I would like to apply formula, right? Because the formula also I can drag and drop to the any field, right? So equals to the cell address, which is R2 slash, and we have this quantity S2, and hit enter. So as I hit enter, yes, from here you see, let me get some more space here, right? Okay, so from here I can do what? I click on the cell and I'll double click on that. You see the entire data same way I got it, right? So this is we talk about that formula that we apply, and you see here the formula R2 divided by S2. As soon as I double click on the corner of the cell, you see the formula getting copied everywhere, right? And there are two types of addressing that we have: relative and absolute. This is absolute, this is relative addressing, right? Okay, which is getting changed for each of the cell as I drag the formula. But there is one thing which is absolute cell reference also, right? I also would like to talk about that. Consider that, for example, if I have employees data, right? That salary, okay. Now I know that the salary of the employee, let's suppose I just randomly take some data, 10,000, 20,000, right? 30,000, right? Okay, 40,000, right? Some data, and 50,000, right? Let's suppose somebody, sorry, 50,000, right? Somebody tells me that, okay, the salary has to be increased, right? Okay, and how much salary that increment is there? Okay, there is an increment of 2,000. Now my entire data is present in the single cell, right? So if I want to get the updated salary, right? Updated salary, and I'll use the formula equals to the previous salary of that employee plus the increment that person got. Now I'm giving the reference, right? Cell reference A2 plus E2. I hit enter, right? Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag the formula, right? So as soon as I drag that, the formula also get dragged, right? So you see here 2000 got added here, but 2000 has not got added in the other employee salary, right? Why? Because when I drag the formula, that was relative indexing, right? Okay. So with the relative indexing, the address is also getting changed, right? But what I was actually wanted to do, actually wanted to apply E2 plus this I wanted to apply, sorry, A2 plus E2, right? Okay, so A2 plus E2, and in the next cell also I want to apply what? I want to apply A3 plus E2. This is, that means I want to I want relative addressing for the previous salary, but for the increment I want absolute addressing. Now for that, what we actually do, so I'll just delete that, and with this I'll do one thing. This I keep it as relative because I want it to increase, like get in the order A2, A2, B2, then sorry, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, but I want this to be fixed, absolute indexing. So for that, I'll keep, in order to fix that, I'll use $E $2. Now this dollar is putting what? Absolute indexing with which. So if I now drag the formula, you see the address A2, A3, A4, A5 getting updated, but E2 remains same in each of this field. This is, we call it as absolute addressing, right? Okay, cell address. So we keep it fixed. Obviously, if we have different ranges, then we can apply accordingly, but this is the difference between a relative and an absolute address, right? I hope it's fine. Okay, so coming back, I hope you have seen we applied just a formula, right? Okay, so even we can apply arithmetic operations in terms of formula to add to cell, plus minus equals to other things we can also do, and even we can do all this with functions also, right? Okay, like I want to find the total sale in this entire sheet. What is the total sales which has been done, right? Okay, so if we want to find that, yes, we can also do that, but let me first remove any sort of like filters which might I have applied. So let me clear that, select all. Okay, so let me just remove it from here so that entire data gets selected, right? So this is segment. Okay, I don't have to apply data validation here. Let me just change that because segment is not for the same, right? Okay, so it was not applied. Okay, so I think by mistakenly I selected the data from H1. It should be from H2. Okay, done. Perfect, right? Okay, so let me do one thing. Yeah, so we were talking about what? We were talking about functions. I want to find the total sales, right? Okay, so I'll just drop. Okay, instead of just dropping down, I click over here, control down, shift down. So I'll reach to the end of the data, right? So equals to, I'll say sum, and sum of this entire cell. We can give in the range, right? So the data is from R2 to wherever it is, right? Okay, R. The data is from. Right, let me just go back there. Okay, right, so here we were entering, so data is from R2 colon R5112. okay, so this is the total sales that we have calculated, right? Total sales. Even if I want to find the average sales, yes, we have equals to a average method, right? Not DEV, we'll talk about this later on. Average, again R22 colon R 5112, right? Okay, similarly we have other functions also, like find the total values, right? Okay, so for that we can use count function, right? R2 colon R51. okay, so equals to count, so R2 colon 5111 values are there, right? Okay, so count function is there. Then we can also have, in order to find the maximum value, so we have max function, right? Okay, this is the maximum value. Similarly we have minimum also, equals to, everything has to be from equals to, right? R2 colon R5112, the minimum value in that. Okay, so we get this. So similarly we have seen that few of the functions that we can apply, right? So with this you can also explore other functions which are there, okay, and the formulas that you can use it. Okay, so different kind of calculations which are there, right? We'll also talk about charts, right, in the upcoming. So we'll have all these functions, right? Max, min, count, average. Okay, we have financial functions, right? Okay, this is lot many, right? I hope you'll go through that because all of these are not being used for us, right? Okay, so few basic functions that you can go through this, right? Okay, to find floor value, ceiling value, right? Okay, few mathematical operations, right, that you need, and we'll talk about statistical functions, right, in one of the next class, one of the lecture, right, in the upcoming class. Okay, so I think you have learned the first set of spreadsheet functions, right? So you please explore more powerful functions, right? That which is there, okay, and that can help you to perform calculation based upon specific like conditions. So if you find this lecture helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe to Mindsight, right? Mindexcite, right? And continue your journey towards becoming a data analyst. Thank you.